Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. Today I've got Jessie with us in the studio again.
Hello.
So today I want to talk about the courage to be creative in anything that you want to do and how difficult it can be, especially when you're getting judged by other people when you want to do something that you love. It's not the easiest thing to do to be able to find your calling, but it's hard to ignore your calling when you know in your heart that you're passionate about something and you want to get it done or you want to do it yourself. A lot of the time I find that when you do find your calling in something, people always have something to say about it. And my advice to you all is to not to tell people not to tell people your business, but not to tell people what you're doing by just doing it. Because if you do tell people what you want to do, I find a lot of the time that they'll put their energy on what you want to do, and sometimes that hinders you and stops you from actually doing what you love, or sometimes you may feel like you're stuck.
So basically, they don't want you to succeed,
Basically, yeah. And a lot of the time, the more people you tell, the more people's energy will be on what you want to do.
Yeah, because they won't be happy. Well, you will have some people that will be happy, but I guess, you will have those type of people that will not be happy for you.
Yeah, so my advice is for you to just go out and do it. And a lot of the time people go out and they try to start something before actually realizing that they're meant to do it. So sometimes people rush into things just because somebody else out there is doing it. And I don't think that is a good option for you to do. I think that you should find what you really love and plan it and be organized with it. Then when you go out and do it, you know you're prepared. And I think, for instance, Jessie's really good at organisation and preparing things so that you're ready and you always have a backup of things. So don't rush out there and go and do things that you're not ready for, because you will have repercussions about it. Another thing that I just wanted to say is that when you are creative, make sure you're really expressing who you are, not an imitation of what you think people want of you. I think that's really important. Who you are says a lot about, what you express, says a lot about who you are as an individual. And that's how people will portray you. Like, for instance, when I see people perform on stage, one thing I always say to them before they go out on stage is, how do you want someone to perceive you? So when you're expressing your poetry or your music or your writing on stage, give across the aura and the impression of how you want people to take you. Because it's one thing, like I say, just reading your poem. It's another thing you expressing your poem, and then it's another thing of how your energy is coming across for those people.
So it's basically how you said about body language in your last episode.
Yeah. Body language is so important. Another thing is you being able to give a service to people. So your creativity is actually you giving a service to people. With that service, it's your dream. Whatever your dream is, being creative, your dream is to give a service to people so then that people will enjoy it and be inspired, and then they're actually paying you so you can do your dream. And I'm sure that there are loads of people in the world that have a dream and want to get paid for their dream. Basically, we all do. I'm sure we all have a purpose in life where we feel like we have a creative spark. Or some people might say, I'm not creative at all. But you are. You just have to find it in you, and
you have to believe in yourself.
And you're gonna have good days, and you're gonna have really bad days. And even when you do have those, you have to push yourself to say, you know what, I'm having a bad day, but I know that this is something that I love doing, and I'm sure that we've all been through that ourselves. how to deal with your fear is what I do when I'm afraid of something is I push towards it more. I don't run away from it. I push even more. And even if I get more scared,
So how do you find that courage to push yourself more?
That's a good question for me.
It just popped in my head.
Sometimes I go and sit down and take a minute. I always think of what I say before I say it, because what you say will always have a repercussion on another person. I always think of how I act before I act it, because what I act will have another repercussion on someone else. I think it's important to be careful what you say, because it's not what you say, it's how you say it to another person, of how they're interpret it and keep it with them for life, because people do that. And what I would say is think before you speak, and how I deal with my courage is to not to try and knock myself down as hard as I do, because it's really, how can I say, it's detrimental to yourself, and it shows to other people how much you love or think of yourself, and I think that's really important. So what I have a tendency to do to break it down for you guys is, if something happens and I'm having a bad day, I'm like, nothing's wrong. Yes, that is me. I'm one of those people. If you are one of those people where you're upset and when someone asks you what's wrong, you say nothing, just say what's wrong with you. Yeah. It takes time. It's hard. It pulls a lot of emotions out of you. But at the same time, I would recommend you to take a step back, to ask for some space if you need space. But if you're not a person that needs space, take a sit down and reevaluate the situation. Think about how you can be positive about the situation and make the outcome not a negative one but a positive one, so that you can have the best outcome of a bad situation and turn it into a good one. That's what my advice would be to anybody out there to do.
Good.
Another one is, how do you deal with, criticism from other people? Now, another thing is,
that is a hard one, because a lot of people struggle with that one.
Most people want to kill people when someone criticizes them, is most of the time.
Maybe picture it, but not actually do it.
Yeah, well, most people want to, when someone criticizes you, I can always try and say to you, don't take it to heart. Yeah? Sometimes a person will say to you what they are really saying about themselves. And I said this to you in my other podcast. And a lot of the things that I'm saying today is just a reevaluation of a lot of the stuff that I said maybe in my last one. But I'm just emphasizing it and giving you more depth to it.
Okay.
So you can understand really where we are coming from, or where I am coming from in this. Because it's so important, and I want you to understand that who you are as a person and what you are doing is, you have purpose. Even in the times that you think you don't have purpose and why you here, you really have purpose. You just need to make sure that you understand that you have purpose, because you are the only one is going to be affected by your emotions. It's you. So how do you take criticism? When somebody says something to you and it hurts your feelings, please remember that you give consent to what upsets you in your life. A person is only going to throw their opinion onto you because they know that it will affect how you feel. You are in charge of how it makes you feel. Yeah?
That's right.
So, to be honest with you, don't take it to heart like you normally would. Take a step back from when somebody says something that you don't like. Don't go for the kill. Go for the calm. Yep. So if someone says something to you that you are not particularly happy with, say, you know what? Thank you for saying what you've said. I've listened to what you've said. But I think that my way would be better, or just say to them, I'm gonna just leave it alone and walk away from the situation if you don't like it.
Yeah, it's best to walk away.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10, I've walked away from many situations that I don't like if someone says something to me, because I know that my reaction towards it when I was younger could be really bad. Or I know that I could say something that I'm like, okay, I'm going to say this, but you might not like it. But don't do a tit for tat. Don't say something to someone, they upset you, so you're going to say something bad back to them just to upset them. That's just you pulling yourself down to their level. And to be quite honest with you, that's not what we're aiming for. We're aiming for you to be better people, to be a better person, so that you can help other
That's
people.
right.
So when it comes to criticism, lastly, like again, it may seem like I'm repeating myself, but I'm not. I'm actually being honest by saying to you, don't take what people say to you to heart. Do what you love, how you want to do it, in your way. If these people are not helping you and bringing you to the next level so that you can come up, someone else will help you. It's just that at the best of times, we feel like no one wants to help us. We feel like we are by ourselves. We feel like we are alone. When sometimes that's not the case. It could be the person who is right next to you, and even if they're not physically helping you, they could be emotionally helping you. But if you are lucky to have both, utilize the both. And even when they tell you something from the good, this is from the good person, not from the bad person who's doing nothing but telling you something. I mean the good person who is helping you and telling you something. Keep that person, because a real friend or a real partner will tell you you're good and you're bad. They won't just tell you you're good all the time. That's not what a friend or partner is. A partner is someone who tells you you're good and you're bad. And I mean that in friendships, I mean that in relationships, I mean that in work relationships, in any kind of anything that has relationship, or even a family member. The person will tell you you're good and a person will tell you you're bad. So make sure you utilize and understand what both of them are, and make sure you understand what a good person is and what a bad person is. Because a person who is bad may appear like they are good, and it's not that. It may sometimes a person who is bad is telling you stuff out of spite and jealousy, which is a lot of the time. Where a good person is a person who will sit you down, not in front of people, but you're by yourselves when you two are alone, and just have a conversation with you to tell you, I've noticed that you've been doing this, but I think that you should do it this way to help yourself. That is a good person. A bad person will manipulate the situation to make it worse for you just so they are happy. Yeah? So understand that a person will push you, a good person will push you and kick you in your butt so you get to where you need to be. So understand that courage from that person and courage within yourself when you're feeling down to lift yourself and give yourself that kick in that butt. No?
Yeah.
So
I'm not saying that very much today, but because this is a very passionate topic for Savia.
It is, because I think that I've been in a place where I feel like I have been discouraged or upset with things, and sometimes I feel like things are not going the way that they should be, and I feel that they could go in a better direction, but ultimately I have to say, you know what, no, let me try another avenue. Or Jessie might say, you know what, you're doing this. Jessie kicks me in my butt and she says, you know what, Lou, or Savia, I should say. My friends call me Lou. There's a reason behind it. But to you all, I'm Savia. So for me, it's one of those things where Jessie will turn around and be like, well, if you're feeling discouraged, why are you feeling discouraged? And sometimes she may feel like she may be coming down on me hard, but then there's tough love. Yeah, not everyone knows how to deal with tough love. Yeah,
No, not everyone.
because tough love can feel like you're just really trying to drag me down and you're making me feel even worse than I did before. And then there's tough love where I love you, I want to just see you do good. Yeah, and I think that's Jessie's, is I love you and I just want to see you do good. And I'm sure, and I hope, and I can't say I'm sure because I don't know your life and I don't know your situation. I don't know your friendships or your relationships. But I hope you all have someone out there who is that I love you person. It could be a friend or anyone, but I hope you all have that I love you someone out there. Let's call it I love you someone. Yeah, from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should start the podcast by going, hi everyone and welcome to the Savia Rock Show. You know, the Ask People podcast with Savia Rock, sorry. Actually, I don't even know what I'm saying now. But I hope you all got I love you peoples next to you, and or whatever it might be. But what I'm trying to say is I hope you all have that I love you person who pushes you to do good for yourself, because you don't need a million people in the world. You just need a good amount. You just need one person, one good person. If you have more, you're luckier than millions of other people in the world. But if you don't, and you just have one, then yeah, you are lucky. If you have more, like I said, then you're abundantly lucky. Yeah? So whoever you have, it could be your dog or your cat or your bunny rabbit crocodile. Yeah, it doesn't matter who it is. But if you have someone, then you are ultimately the lucky one, because a lot of people in the world don't even have that person. Another one I just want to talk about briefly with you all is kind of going public with your work and having that first feeling of what someone is going to say and releasing it. So the first time I released a podcast, I felt nauseous
and
nervous because and you also could tell.
I think everybody, when they take out their first show, they feel that. I mean, I read about that. They do feel that scare, that panic, that oh my god, and how am I gonna sound, how everybody's gonna think, what people are gonna be thinking, etc.
I think as long as you're your natural self, I think you'll always be okay. I think as long as you are your natural self and you're authentic, or you're
just be
your beautiful self. And the reason why I use these words, because the words that you use mean a lot of how you interpret yourself and the people around you. So it's so important. Another thing I always say to people is have a commitment to yourself to always do your best. Yeah. If you have,
that's all we could do, our best.
If you have a commitment to yourself, just to promise yourself that I will always try my best in the world, no matter what it is, even if you're baking a cake. Yeah. If you always try your best to make what you do your best and you've done it, it will never be a fail because you've done your best. And I think that's really important in any aspects of life or anything that you want to do. It's always important to just have that courage to always do your best. And on that note, that is my motivational talk for you, and my courage talk. I should call it my courage talk. My courage talk for creative people. There you go. Today is just to always believe in yourself, understand who you are, don't let no one criticize you, make a promise to yourself. Yeah, everyone's saying, oh, this year is over, so all this stuff, I can't get nothing done. That's rubbish. Sorry. That's rubbish. You can start tomorrow, even if you're writing notes for the rest of the year on what you want to do for next year. Get them notes out and be organized. And I learned that I had to be more organized. And I had to have the courage to believe in myself more. And ultimately, I think that's one of the best things that I can do. And to me, that means a lot, because I'm now able to share that with you guys, to show you guys that I wasn't always organized. I was organized, don't get me wrong, I was organized, but I wasn't as organized as when I watch other people being organized. Like I watch Jess be organized and I ain't as organized as I should be. But then I understand the organization of it all now and how detrimental it is to your work for you to be that organized. So make that promise to always do better for yourself. Uplift yourself in whatever you want to do. Don't listen to what other people say and just always be happy in any action that you do or any reaction that people give you, because you're going to get good and bad in anything that you want. Not everyone is going to like your work, and not everyone is going to like your voice, your work, your writing. Everyone is a critic, but in a good and bad way. You give authorization to what you want to take with you. And on that note, even though Jessie didn't say that much today at all.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is a topic that's more for you, really.
Maybe.
You know, I mean, that is interesting for you. That's what I mean.
So you're trying to say it's not interesting for you?
No, it is. It is interesting for me. But I'm just saying that this is a big topic you wanted to talk about. I'm just like, yeah, I'm taking it all in, what you're saying. That's all I'm doing.
Wow. The reason why I'm saying all of this today is because I am a observer. Jessie seems to think that I am a good talker. That I can think of things on the spot and just that blah, 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 blah. That's not it.
Where I can't do that.
That's really not it. I am such a big observer of the world and life and people, and I'll sit there and have a hot chocolate because I don't drink coffee because it makes me extremely high, and I will sit there and I will just watch. I'm a people watcher. I watch people. It's not creepy. I just watch people. Yeah, and I watch people's actions and reactions and interaction. And I go, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. And it gives me a perspective of how different classes of people, different races of people, different religions of people act together. And I like understanding it because the more you learn, the more wisdom you get from it. And that's really important because at the end of the day, it's important for you to understand that yourself and to watch how people do. I would recommend you spend go to a coffee shop when they open again. I know that sounds bad to say.
I think there is some open.
Some of them are open now.
But I don't think you could
physically go in and sit there. You can go out and stay there. Okay, right. Go and grab a coffee from somewhere. If you knew where I work, I'd give you a coffee. I really would. Yeah, because apparently our coffee machine is off the chain. Yeah, but I don't drink coffee, so I don't know. Actually, no, I tell a lie. I tried it once and I felt so high. So I never drank it again. So I'm not a big coffee lover. And some of you may go, what? You don't drink coffee? Yes. But no, I'm not a big coffee lover. I am hot chocolate lover. So if you ever see me say, hey, Savia, do you want to have a hot chocolate with me? I'll be like, yeah. And I'll go and chill with you and we can have a conversation because I can talk about anything that is important to you. Whatever's important to you is important to me because I share that openness with people, because there are so many things in life to talk about and your conversation will impact me to have a conversation with you. So that's good enough for me. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you for Jessie for just sitting there and
just sitting here and just like listening.
I think she's happy that I done the podcast. I think deeply internally inside, she knew that this meant something to me internally.
Well, it did. It did mean something to you internally.
And just expressing my emotion meant something to her because I could see a big grin from ear to ear. But on that note, I will say, guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Us People podcast. We're on episode 10. Are we on episode 10 or 9 now?
No, 9 already passed.
Is it 9 already passed? See, it's going quicker than I imagined. We always do this. I'm about to say bye, then we start another conversation. So, guys, please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, where is it? Where else are we on? Facebook. Also, please
listen to us on platform.
On all platforms, we're on everywhere, and I always say this every time. We're on every place apart from SoundCloud at the moment. Yeah, so you can go on anywhere. You can go on Google Play, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Where else is there? There are loads. The PDPod, the Podipod. There's one. There's loads. Yeah, just type it in. But please, when you type in,
when you do the search,
in Google, Us People Podcast will not come up. I don't know why they've done that, but it won't come up. So please type in Us People Podcast with Savia
Savia
Rocks. Okay? So when you type that, and I know it sounds like I ain't typing all that. Yeah.
But that's the only way it will
That's the
show
only
up
way
for some
it
reason.
will show up for some reason, and I don't know why. So we'll get on it and make sure that if we just have to put Us People Podcast without my name, I don't mind. Yeah. But please type in, again, Jessie, say it with me, Us People Podcast with Savia Rocks. Yeah, so, and it will come up. Yeah. And if you want to get in touch, please by email, text. I leave my WhatsApp open on the messages. So if you have any questions, throw your subjects at me. Throw your opinions at me. I don't mind them. I will take it on board. I won't cry. You know? I take them on board and I actually listen to them. Yeah, I think that's it for this one.
Yeah, and basically for the following week, be prepared for the following week.
Yeah, be prepared for the following week, and please share and subscribe to any platform that you do listen to the Us People podcast on, because we really appreciate you. So on that
Thank
note,
you.
like I said, please stay happy, stay positive and creative, and please always remember to continue to be kind to one another.